Good morning, YouTube. I know it's been a while, but I've been pretty busy. Been trying to earn money, doing all kinds of stuff. But this job here, this video here is dedicated to the Uber drivers, the DoorDash, those kind of drivers that are out there on the streets trying to earn a living. You know, the concept of having these kind of opportunities is actually very attractive to the Vanlifer, because especially if he's traveling, he can go around and, you know, make a few bucks here, make a few bucks there, work if he wants to, not work if he wants to. You know, there's it gives you a lot more opportunities, and that way you're not having to go apply for jobs at every single job, you know, McDonald's or whatever on your way, or campsite or whatever you do. You know, the whole thing about being in van life is to find something that you can do either on a computer, or stiffs like myself that don't have that ability, you know, to find other ways to making money and to, you know, to pay your way around. It does not take a lot of money to be in van life. You can live very frugally, you could say. But the thing is you still need functioning money. You know, if it be food, cigarettes, whatever, gas, you know, insurance for your van, you know, all kinds of different things. But it's not a whole lot. I mean, everybody's got a cell phone. You're probably going to spend, $50 to $100 probably, you know, a month for just for the cell phone alone. But anyway, you get the point. But I went out and I got a job with Uber to deliver food. Now, with the experimenting with this, you know, with this program and operating it, I'm pretty dedicated in how my work ethics and everything else. So, I mean, I'd work 10, 12 hours every day. I was taking anything and everything that would come my way, and just to see if and how much money I could make in a week. Well, let me tell you a little bit about what I've observed. There's an app that shows a map. It's a GPS map. And at the top of the map in a black area, it has how much the bid is to do a certain job. Let's say you're going to McDonald's, let's say, picking up an order and then delivering it 9 miles down the road for a customer, and comes in, let's say, at $15. These are all just hypothetical numbers, but it's close to what I've experienced. Okay, so you got 10 seconds before the buzzer goes on, you know, to make a decision on this call. I didn't make that decision. I just automatically took anything that popped up, because I wanted to see the truth of what was actually happening out there. Yeah, you can find many, many videos on there how people say, well, you need to just delete these calls and ignore them and get the good ones. But then you're picking in, it's not really fair to the other drivers around you, because someone's got to take the calls, you know, so they're going to do whatever they have to do to basically get you to take the calls. So anyway, so you take the call, you go to McDonald's, you pick up your thing, they give you a little bit of hassles or whatever, and you pick that product up and you drive it down to the house. Now, when you get there, you find out it's an apartment building. Well, in the app, when you're looking at the call, it doesn't give you the address of where that customer is at. It doesn't tell you it's an apartment building. It doesn't give you an apartment number. You cannot retrieve that information until you arrive on the job. How in the world does people know not to take? I think that's why they do it, is deleted it to that way, because they found out people were looking at that and saying, oh no, and they wouldn't take the call. All right, so they privately this is Uber's thought, well, I'll just privately delete that information, that way they're going to take it and, you know, find out when they get there. Ha-ha on them, basically. All right, so you go and you deliver the job. Yeah, you walk up the 5 flight of stairs and you deliver the job, and you come back down to your car and you hit delivered. And then instantly it pops up, hey, congratulations, the little box up there says you just made $4. And you're like, $4? It was for $14. Why is it now $4? Well, that's Uber's base pay, apparently, for that job. So basically, they give you 10 cents a mile? So 14 miles, my vehicle gets 18 miles a gallon. So it costs me $3.42 a gallon. So that's telling me that it basically costs me over $3 in fuel just to deliver this job. And that doesn't pay for the gas and the mileage to get back to the zone to where I'm working. And if you stay out there, wait for the next call, you'll never get one. You'll sit there for hours and not get a call. So you have to pretty much go back to where they want you to go back to. And so that right there is sort of a scam as well. They're not even giving you the mileage to and back. It's just the one way. And if you get the extra insurance and all this stuff that they offer, for health and accidents, things like that, it's cheap. But they stop paying that second as well. They don't pay you for your time driving during the day. So who's really right or wrong? The way I see it is it should be covered from the time you clock in and the time you clock out. If you're driving for the job or back and forth to the job, that's all should be covered under your insurance, period. And it should also be paid, period, through Uber or DoorDash or whatever. They should be paying for that mileage as well. Yeah, they don't pay you to go on joyrides, don't get me wrong. But to at least double the amount it took you to get there, that gets you back to where you were at to start off with. And that's the only fair way of looking at it, Basically, they're just sort of scamming you to try to get you to take these jobs. Now, then we go into the tip side. Okay, yeah, there's probably a lot of consumers out there that feel, like they're too good to give a driver a tip. They don't understand. We don't work for Uber by the hour. We're a contract. So we don't get any of the benefits that they get at their job. We work for what they give us in tips, period. That's our money. So when they get us to deliver their $40 meal and give us no tip, basically they've won big time because they didn't have to get out of their pajamas and go get that food. They didn't have to spend their money and their gas to go get that food. So I almost feel that that they should be liable for a certain fee or a tip. And this should all be in contact. In other words, if the customer is throwing these big numbers out there to get the people to drive, saying that it was $14, and they guaranteed that $14, or they stated that $14, and they're the ones that pulled back on it and didn't tip the driver, then that's where Uber is letting down their drivers. Because Uber should have it in their bylaws dealing with their customers that if that customer states a certain price, it should be locked in, paid for on the debit card, period. Now, if the customer wants to boost that tip later after the job because he had a well job done, then that's fine. He can come back and add a tip. But the first initial amount to get Uber to set their price to send out to the drivers, that right there should be locked in, period. And Uber should actually be liable for that. That's almost a broken contract. And that's my view of that. I've been a contractor my entire life. There is no way any court would ever stand up with me and allow me to contract someone to do a job and then pay them a quarter or half of it at the end of the job. it don't work that way. I'm sorry, it's against the law. It's breaking contract, violations. Um, Even if there was a dispute, let's say he didn't have to do his job or whatever, it's still hard to lower the price unless you have a change order or something like that. Something's just not right about that. And I think that Uber is treating their drivers as like their employees. They don't have they have an employee mentality. They think they own them. But if you think you own them and you treat them like that and you run them like you own them and they are your employers, guess what? By law, you are an employee of Uber. You are not a contractor. They're controlling every move you make, telling you when you can take a break, when you can't take a break. This is all being contracted just like you're working for the hour. And if you're acting like that, then guess what? Then you're liable for it. You're breaking the law, calling us 1099 employees. So if there's any kind of a law out there, or a entity, let's say the labor law people, should be checking into this stuff. Because if they're breaking that law, then they're losing, because they're not being their taxes. In other words, they're not able to collect their taxes for workman comp and all the other stuff that they have to pay out as a normal employer. So, I mean, it's been hassles in my business as well, and you can't hire a contractor, say he's a contractor, just so you can get away from paying their taxes and all the benefits. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. I mean, they'll come down on you like stink on shit, trust me. But anyway, this is just the way it is. And that's with every other industry out there that I know of. And I've worked in many, many different industries in my life. So, Uber, DoorDash, you better think twice about how you treat your drivers. You better stop trying to manipulate them, because you're dancing on a very thin ice right there. And you could be sued in class action, sued for every bit of this. So you might want to consider how you're thinking about it and get off the I'm the boss mentality. You're not. I'm sorry, you're not. You're contracting us to do a job for you. And if the thing is, if you don't have enough contractors to fulfill your job, then you need to hire more contractors. If you can't hire more contractors, then it's something you might want to look into on your end on how you can protect your drivers and stand behind your drivers to give them the benefits and the tips and stuff that they deserve. It's a relationship thing that you have to build with your people. Remember, your clients is not who your business is. Your business is you and your drivers. That you're all providing the business. They're just a customer that's purchasing your product or your service. Yes, I understand about being, all customers, are right, everything else. I get that. I'm one of the best of taking care of my customers. And I do highly regard my customers. But there's a fine line. You got to sort of cover both ends. Even if it hurts, you got to cover both ends. So you may want to consider on how you've got your business structured. But anyway, as for a driver, I've driven basically 12 hours a day for a week on an average in my little area. Yeah, it's not a busy area. I would be lucky to break $100 in the 12 hours. That's my total. Then time I take the insurance out, it's below $100, time I actually cash out. But then you got to realize I just driven 200 miles on my car. So now I got to go back to the gas station, and I got to spend like $40, $45, $50 of that money to refill my gas tank. So that takes me down to about $50. Anywhere from about $40 to $50 is my take-home pay. And if you figured that, well, I spent 12 hours to get that. That's not very much money. That's way below minimum wage. So then, like I said, Uber, you need to step up the game, and I think start holding these customers to that. If they're going to quote a certain price, or if it's you inflating this price to trick your drivers into taking these calls, then that's a baddie on you. Because now that is breaking a contract. That's flat out lying to to your drivers. And that right there is definitely a class action suit. So you better take in consider on what you're actually doing out there. Because I'm going to go on and follow this here, and I'm going to stay up on this. I'm going to keep trying it. Even if I have to go under different names or whatever to make sure that it gets, checked out. I'll ride along with other people that are drivers, and we'll get the full answer to all this. And you don't want me on your bad side, trust me. So, I'm as sweet as pie. I'm the nicest person you'll ever meet. But when it comes to business, I got a tiger in my tank, baby. Trust me. So you better start straightening your crap up. Because you don't want this tiger to get busted. I'm a Leo, and you don't want my tiger to come out, trust me. I do know how to roar. Well, anyway, so much for that. I'll probably get fired because of this job, but who cares? I ain't made no money anyway. But I just want to give you all the heads up of what's going on. Don't stand by and let them push you around. Not at all. The thing is, if all the drivers will stick together and understand this, all we have to do is just stop driving. That puts such a major pressure on these companies. They'll go out of business in a week. Trust me. They'll shut their doors. And then they'll wonder, well, why did my business fall out of hell? Because they didn't take care of the business. They were just looking at money and the greed. So Uber, watch yourselves. DoorDash, watch yourselves, because I'm telling you what, you screw your drivers over, you lost your business. And that's with any service business. You screw your servicers and your people that's working for you doing these jobs or performing these jobs, you will lose your business overnight. Any service, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're a plumber, electrician, air conditioning contractor, whatever. You screw over the people that work for you, you will not have a business, period. You might have the customers and stuff coming in, but if you ain't got no one to fill that need, then you ain't going to be able to collect that money anyway. So you might want to look at who's the most important to you. Yeah, customers are always right, but the customers are still have to be educated as well that these people are working on tips. They need to step up the plate and quit acting like that they're entitled and we're giving them a favor. We're not. We're out here trying to make a living. So it's their right to pay that. If you go out to a restaurant and you order food at a restaurant, and that waitress or waiter comes over to you and he serves you and does you a good job, and you get up and you don't leave him a tip, or you leave him a $50 tip or a 50-cent tip, you're an asshole. Period. Point blank, you are a asshole. That's the rudest thing you could ever do to somebody, is smack them in the face. If someone in a service industry does a service for you, that person makes crap. If you're a waiter or waitress, you make half of what even minimum wage is. That's what the company's paying them. If they're lucky to get that. They're there working and slaving all day long and taking your crap because you didn't deliver their water on time. So they deserve every single dollar that they earn. And you should be liably responsible for paying that. That's why when you come in with a big, like a big group, then they give you a mandatory 20% or whatever it is. I see nothing wrong with that, because I've seen a lot of big groups walk in and do that and run that girl flat out ragged and leave her $1. And it's a $500 ticket, That's crap. That little girl worked her butt off for that. So don't get me bent on tipping people in their services. Like I said, I ran a service business my whole life. I've dealt with, my mother was a beautician. My whole family was waiters and waitresses. I'm an air conditioning contractor and the plumbing and electrical contractors. So I understand what it means to be a service. So that's why I say it's very, very important, to look at it in our eyes as service people and appreciate what we do. If a servicer does something good for you and does a good job for you, at least you could do is say thank you and make them feel better. Give them anything and everything you have. And if that's all you can afford is $1, then that's fine. But if you give it in true heart, the waiter will know that. But come on, if it's all you got is $1, just don't go out to eat that day. Stay home and eat the bologna sandwich. Save up for next week or 2 or 3 days later when you can afford to give them a decent tip. Because remember, they're out there working for you. I don't know, guys. I'm sure if you have different opinions and things, throw them in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. But I just wanted to give you my take on the delivery driver apps and the experience that I've had in all of them. I've tried every hours, morning, early mornings, lunches, all the promotion times. I've been through all the different scenarios that they have to offer. So I feel I've given it a very fair chance, to perform the way that it should perform and get a good observation of what's actually happening. Am I upset with them? No, because I did this as an experiment just to see if it's something liable. I can't recommend something to somebody or talk bad or good about something unless I've done it myself. So, and my concern has always been for the Vanlife people, the people that's on the road trying to make a living, the young kids that are struggling and maybe they don't have a college education. Come on, even if you have a master's degree, you can't hardly get a decent job no more. So anyway, in every way, I've always been an entrepreneur mindset. So any way and every way that I can think of and teaching you how to earn money on your own, that's what I'm all about. Because my major goal is to make sure you're okay. That's why I promote Vanlife the way I do, because these kids cannot afford, even the seniors cannot afford to pay the rent prices these days. And if you can, you're very lucky. But 90% of them can. And these are the people that you see on the streets. And I've been in the homeless business my whole life. For 21 years I've been doing the homeless ministry. I've seen a lot of different scenarios. I've seen a lot of things. But also I see the pain that they're in because their life is just in shambles. And they can't do anything about it to save it. And that's what they do. They try to drown that. They do it with alcohol or drugs or whatever. Because they have no hope. I mean, come on, you're living in the streets, you're sleeping on concrete. How can you have any hope at that? People don't realize. And they're looking, they're just mentally ill or drugged. You know what? Because their life is what put them there. That's why they're in there like they are. And do you think it's easy to get up out of the hole and go and do something and clean yourself up? You go out, you say, I'm going to take this as a chance. Go out and be homeless for a week. No matter what, you can't return back home. No matter what, you have to figure out some way to get clean. Then I want you to go, after that week, I want you to go see if you can apply for just a normal job, the way you look. Because honestly, you won't get it. There ain't no one out there going to hire you because you smell. You haven't had a bath in a week. You have no clean clothes. You got holes in your clothes. And you're depressed. You're mopey. You sort of got an attitude. Whatever the situation is, these are the stipulations and the hills that these guys got to climb. So have a little bit more compassion for them, remember. Pick one up, take them home. If you want to help, pick one up, take them home. Feed them well. Let them rest well. Wash them, clean them. Give them new clothes. Give them a ride. Give them somewhere. Help them get that new job. Support them for a few months and be behind them, making sure everything that they have is in need. And help them get their path going again. And you be the back support to help carry them to that point in life. That is when you make a difference in their lives. And when they fail, you love them and you do it again. Because not everybody's going to get it the first time. Life is that cruel out there. Well, anyway, there's my ramble. I know I haven't been on for a while, but you asked for it. So you got it. God bless you. Have a great day. See you later.